guys and gals, boys and girls, welcome back to airplane mode. Today you guys will just be doing a short little tutorial in the brand new launched updated Zibo 737-800. This tutorial will pretty much cover everything you really need to know about the brand new tablet. Somebody requested this to me, so I'm just going to do it. Guys, we are 2 subscribers away from 100 subscribers. I am super thrilled to get this. Please subscribe if you have not already, and let's jump right into the video. You guys, welcome aboard the Zibo 737-800. Guys, to begin things off here, we're going to be just showing off some of the little features here on the tablet. So obviously, if you're at the home page right here, you can go to team and credits. Huge shout out to these guys right here. They really made the best freeware plane for X-Plane in my opinion. So we're going to head back home right here. Anytime that you notice little things up there in every corner, so for example, here you'll see it, here you'll see it, here you'll see it, everywhere that you go except for these 2 right here, you'll notice a little thing right there. Now this is just saying that there's 1 page and you're on the first page out of 1. So if this says 1/3, it means that you're on the first page out of 3 pages. 2/3, second page out of 3 pages. You guys get what I'm saying. So yeah, with that, we're just going to go ahead, jump right into the PA system and really just get this tutorial on the road. So with that, you're going to notice that there are 5 little recordings right here. Now these are obviously just played whenever you get the chance to. So for example, when you get to cruise, just hit that. He'll give a little level off speech and yeah, everybody will be good to go. Same with all these guys right here. All these 4 will be read by the captain and this will be read by the flight attendants. So pretty much whenever you reach one of these little checkpoints, you go ahead, click one of those and it will play. I'm not going to do it because they're kind of long lots of times and I don't want that to interfere with the quality of this video. So with that, we're going to move to our PA settings right here. Now just in case you did not know, flight attendant, or FA stands for flight attendant, obviously, as I just said, and for this line, it's basically just saying flight attendant and captain. Now, if this is at 10, you're going to be able to hear the recordings at maximum volume. If this is at 0, you're not going to be able to hear them at all. 1, maybe a little, 2, maybe a little more. You guys get what I'm saying. The lower you go, the quieter you will hear them. I like it at 10 because I think it's really realistic, and they really enhance the little, the recordings since the last update, so I'm really happy, and that's why I like it at max volume. Now, for flight attendant in cockpit, most of her little recordings are supposed to be set to the cabin, which is extremely realistic. Obviously, she won't be talking to the cockpit unless she has a complaint or something like that. Now, for flight attendant in cockpit, this is at 5 for me because I think it's the most realistic. This is basically all her transmissions that are set to the cabin. This is how loud you'll hear them in the cockpit. That's why if the flight deck door is shut, then you won't be able to hear them, obviously, that much in real life. So 5 is just the most realistic for me. Now, announcement set and R, you'll notice that this is at 5 right now. Actually, we'll just go ahead and set that at 1. So 1 through 4 is just generic. So for example, when you land, she might say, the flight attendant might say, thank you guys so much for flying with us today and have a great day. Now, that's obviously 1 through 4. They're just different little recordings for each thing, but these are all just no set airline, and yeah, you get what I'm saying. So for 5,
United 1,
you'll notice she said United 1. Now this is just a United recording, so for all the little recordings that you might hear, they're based off of United flight attendant. And yeah, so for example, when you land, you might say, on behalf of United Airlines, thanks so much for flying with us today. So you get what I'm saying. Now if you go to 6, you'll notice she said United 2. Now this means that there's United 1 and United 2. Both of these are obviously United, however, there are just kind of different recordings for each United little thing right there. So moving to 7, Southwest 1, Southwest 2, same deal. American
Airlines,
and then Delta, there's only 1 setting. So after you go past 11, it just goes back to 1. Generic, I'm going to keep it that way because they don't have any Alaska Airlines recordings. Hopefully they add some in the future, but for now, we're just going to go ahead, ignore that, and head back home. With that start flight leg, this is pretty much just adding sound effects that show like, okay, the plane is really ready to go, flight deck door is shut, passengers are loaded, we're ready to get going. So if I play this for 2 seconds, you might hear just a few little bumps and thuds every once in a while. This is a really cool little feature. I'm going to shut this off because this guy will not play unless this guy's off. So we're just going to shut that off. You get what I'm saying with that. Now for start loading and cleaning, once we turn that on, you're going to hear little bumps and thuds. And that's really just the flight attendants cleaning up the cabin, preparing their galleys, setting all the seats up, everything that they really need to do. It's really realistic and it really adds a bunch of fun to the cockpit. So with that, guys, we're going to go ahead, leave that on in the background because I just want you guys to really hear the fullness of this recording. So for fuel, weight, and balance, you're going to notice right here, there's only 1 page for this. So for payload, you're going to get that from your flight plan. You'll notice if you click on anywhere on this line that it's associated with, you click it, what will happen is it will give a little calculator. You enter a value, let's just do 20 right here. enter that, and 20 pounds for a payload. Now that's really unrealistic. It would be more like 3,000, but we're just gonna leave it like that and just continue on. So if you're 0 fuel weight, that's just gonna be default. You're not gonna really be able to do anything with that fuel. Same deal, if you just click on that line, you can enter your fuel value. We'll just go 36 right there, enter, and yeah, it will load your fuel. For your takeoff weight, you can't do anything with that, so we're just gonna ignore that right now. So for your takeoff thing, CG right there, you can't do anything on this line or that line. You can do something here, but for now, these guys right here, I don't really know what those do, so if you do, please let me know down below. I would love to learn more about what these guys do so I can fly more realistically. So with that, we're just going to move to our shift CG, sorry about that. This is that little guy right there, that little orange circly weight thing. Pretty much the higher this is, I'm going to be really dramatic for a second. If I put 80 right there, you're going to notice my plane totally tips like far back. And that's because the weight is shifted more towards the back of the plane. Now, I think this helps with takeoffs and landings, but I don't know, so I'm just going to leave this at 0 where it was originally. We're just going to drop down to the ground, and yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and continue on with the tutorial. So that's pretty much the fuel, payload, and all those weights, guys, right there. So for your checklist and procedures, you're going to notice that there are a bunch of things, and before taxi obviously isn't the last checklist for your full flight checklist. So you'll notice here that it says 1/3. If you go all the way to the far left or the far right, you're going to notice a little arrow that pops up. If you just click that, it'll go to the next page. And yeah, all that right there. So we're just going to go ahead and click on that. You'll notice that this is just one page, but if anywhere on this line that you click, you'll notice that it checks it. I like to do it right on the box because I think that's a really neat feature, and I think that's a bunch more realistic. So if you head back, it's just going to take you back there. Go to the far left side, notice an arrow, and just, you know, just play around there. Preliminary pre-flight procedure, you'll notice that there's 2 pages, same deal here. You get what I'm saying? That's pretty much how you switch pages. I was really confused. I had to watch a few videos to figure that out, but now you guys know. We'll move on to settings and features. So here there are a bunch of little windows. However, there's still only one page for this little the settings and features page. So with that, we're going to start off in displays and options. You're going to notice here that it says fuel gauge. Now, if you'll see that guy right there, like that, you'll notice that is just a standard little thing right there for 737. If you do over under, it will change the little mode looking of that. Now, I don't know exactly what is more realistic. I'm just going to leave it at side by side little thing right there because that's what I've seen in most cockpits. However, I'm not a huge expert on what that is in real life. So if you do know, please let me know down below. I would love to know. Now, for your ND display and ND distant rings, pretty much I don't know what those do. So if you do, once again, please let me know. And yeah, with that, we're just going to move right on to the LDU flight controls and LDU brake temperature. Now, you'll see that if we hit the little systems page thing right there. Oh, I don't know why those guys aren't turning on. Oh yeah, we should probably turn on our AP generators like that. So now you'll notice that we are on our systems page right here. So let's just extend our speed brakes so you can see that a little better. So you see that little section right there. If you hit off right there for the flight controls, that will disappear. Same with the brakes temperature, that will disappear too. I'm going to leave these on because I don't know why you would shut them off. But with that, we're just going to move on to the hardware configuration. Now, I don't know what the toe brakes axis does. Honestly, plain and simple. Let me know down below if you do. Nose wheel axis. Now, I have noticed that in some past releases of the Zibo mod, I can't really turn my rudders all the way when I am on the ground. So, a little fix that I learned for that is just have it set on yaw. If it's set on, then pretty much it's not going to do anything for what I've seen in the past, and it's not going to really move the rudders as much as I would like it to. So that's why, quick little fix, set it to yaw, and everything should be good there. Just quick, while this is interfering with our video right here, this is just a little ATIS message. I don't know what this is exactly, like why it just popped up. We're not even at Worcester Regional, so I've tried switching frequencies. Nothing's working. Honestly, I'll just have to do some research more for X-Plane, but with that, we're just going to go ahead. I ask that you please ignore that, and we're just going to move on. Now, throttle noise lock. I kind of thought that that was originally if you set your throttles to full, what will happen is it will make a little clicking sound. That's what the case is in the CRJ. However, that is not the case in the 737. So I don't know what this guy does, to be honest with you. So just, I don't know. But you can tamper around with that. Whatever you find works, please let me know down below. I would love to know. Now, parking brake, remove chocks. I think that's saying that if you release your parking brake, it will remove any chocks that are set. Not from any external plugins, but from the Zibo mod chocks themselves. So I don't know exactly what this is, but that's my best guess, and I think that's what makes the most sense. So moving back here, we're going to go to Realism. Now, this is for your IRS align time. If you have this on real, it's going to take the realistic amount, like 10-13 minutes, like it would in the real airplane. If this is on long, might take a little more, like 15 to 20 to 30 minutes. If it's on short, it will only take a minute to align the IRSs. That's what I do sometimes when I'm setting up for my Zibo flights, just because I really want to get cracking on the video. So I like this on real because, honestly, I think it's the best and obviously the most realistic. So with that, your refuel time, that's just how long it's going to take to refuel your plane. So that's when you set the little fuel value on, I believe it is, yeah, right here. When you set your little fuel value right there, that's how long it's going to take to load. I'm going to leave it on real because I think that's obviously real and it's pretty cool. So pause at top of descent. This is just going to pause your simulator when you reach top of descent on your flight plan. This is kind of a neat little feature because it will obviously stop you from overshooting any runways or just really overshooting your top of descent. So I leave that off only because I'm usually right next to my computer when I'm doing flights. So I'm just going to leave that off. Tire blown advanced. That's just pretty much showing that if ever you, like, say you have a hard landing and you're skidding around, you might pop a tire, and if it's on advanced, it will like really detect it and make it as realistically as like done as possible. If it's on off, it will just kind of be more lenient with that. If you totally bang down on the ground and then are skidding all around, it might not even pop a tire. So I like to leave this on because I think it's a really neat feature, and I really rarely blow a tire, so it's not really that huge of a deal. So moving back here for visual effects, windshield effects. Now this is, I don't even know where this is because there's windshield effects and windshield reflection, so I just leave that on. I don't really notice anything on the windshield, so we're just going to go ahead and ignore that for now. But the windshield reflection, I do know. If that's off, you're going to notice that it looks like there's literally no windshield. If that's on, you're going to notice a little bit of a change. It's going to be a little darker, and it actually makes you feel like you're enclosed in the plane. So I like that on. I think that's the best. Gauges reflection on. You're going to notice right here, there's a little like mark type thing right there. That's off. You're going to notice that those all disappear on the gauges and everything. So yeah, I liked it on because that is honestly the most realistic in my opinion. It really makes you feel like you are not just in outer space with absolutely no sun reflections at all. So with that, hardware throttles on ECAS, I honestly have no idea what this is, so I'm just going to leave it on because I don't really want to mess around with it. Passengers, this is a really awesome feature that has been added with this new version. You'll notice that there are people now in the cabin. That's a really awesome feature, and I think they really nailed that. So obviously this is just basic. If you have it on hide, there's not going to be passengers. Have it on show, which I like it on, there's going to be passengers. So with that, we're going to move back to aircraft configuration. Now there are 2 pages for this, just keep that in mind as we go. Global units, this is just for your FMC if it's going to calculate your fuel in pounds or kilos. So I like it on pounds because that's I think what they do in the United States. Baro units, you can also change that right here. Same with your little minimums radio / baro. I like it on I like it on in because I think that's what they do in the real plane, and I also like it on baro, so I don't know why that's on radio. So that just has to do here with your altimeter, and that just, yeah, you get what I'm saying. Now for your hide yoke, if that's on hide, it's not going to show your yoke. Show your yoke. I like it on, even though it kind of gets in the way sometimes. It is definitely the most realistic. Now chocks off. That will basically set your chocks off. On, it will give your plane chocks. That's pretty basic and obvious. So for engine, no run. So I think this is for when your plane is cold and dark. It will, obviously, you have the setting for cold and dark. Or if you have it on turnarounds, it might, I think it'll set your plane to turnaround mode. I am honestly not 100% sure on that. I have not tried it. Do be sure to tamper around with it. Just don't do it when you're in the middle of a really long flight, because that might mess everything up. And I'm not going to try it now because I don't really want to mess anything up with the video. With that, your VOR radial course, I don't really know what that is. I have a feeling that you can change it right here. So yeah, we're just going to go ahead and leave that how it is right now. So for your flight plan, save format, that's going to be if you ever export your flight plan, you can save it on FMX or FMS. I prefer FMS, so I'm just going to take it off of FMX. For your checklist, sorry about that, somebody just came into my room. That's pretty much just the checklist that is on the little tablet section. If that's on detailed, you're going to notice that for checklist, there's like a bunch more details here. Instead of 2 pages, it's going to be 3, and that's just, I don't know. I like it on simple because I'm not very apt to making it as realistic as possible when it comes to the checklist. So I like it on simple. We're going to move here. Sync pilot QNH minimums. I have no idea what this is. Please let me know down below, but we're just going to move on from that and move to, here we go to audio. Now, there's only 1 page, remember that, for this little audio section right here. Passengers boarding, that's just going to show like passengers boarding, like that sound effect, and if that's off, you're not going to hear that. On, obviously you're going to hear it. Passengers chattering in flight, that's on, you're going to hear them. Off, you're not. I like it on. both of these I like them on because it just really adds extra sounds that are kind of cool and make it seem a lot more realistic. So for your airport setting, there are, if you notice out here, let's just head out quick. Yeah, so here we go. Now that we're outside and we go all the way out, even though we aren't really by the plane, you can kind of hear the little airport sounds outside of it. So that's pretty much what it's saying here. So if this is on basic, it's just going to be a small little municipal airport. Regional, kind of more like a Ronald Reagan regional airport, you know, type things like that. Actually, sorry, it's Ronald Reagan National Airport. Here we go, perfect example. It will be more like a Worcester regional airport like that, and large, more like a Boston, Seattle type airport like that. So I like it on large. Well, it really just depends on what airport you're at. I'm just leaving it on large because I'm at Boston. So yeah, moving on, mute trim wheel. So you'll notice that if we move our trim around here, you can hear the little trim wheel sound. If you have it on off, you can't hear it at all, and it's moving. So I like it on because why would you honestly turn that off? Like, seriously? But obviously, it's just all depending on your personal preferences. Now, analog gyro, I don't really know what causes this to be the case, but you'll hear the little sound. I think this is from older planes. I think they removed it because I've never heard this when I'm visiting cockpits on like real world flights. So I'm just gonna leave that off. It is a kind of a cool sound, so I might turn it on in future flights, but for now we're just gonna leave it off. Mute FMC, so I think this is just like saying, like, for example, when you have to execute something or when you're reaching more top of descent, just things like that, it will, all those little sound effects that you hear from the FMC, you will, if that's on, and it will mute all those sounds so you won't even hear them. I like it off because why honestly turn those off? It's just a heck of a lot more realistic with the cool little sound effects there. Passengers applause, if that's on, you'll hear them applauding after landing. If that's off, you won't. Now I like that off because I have never, well, on a real world flight, I've never in my life heard people clapping after a landing. And I think it's a lot more realistic if it's off because then you don't have people clapping for you after. Yeah, it's kind of nice to hear the little clapping sound, but it really doesn't mean anything since it's a simulator. And they'll do it even if you have like a 3,000 feet per minute landing. They'll clap. So it's just kind of unrealistic if you have a hard landing. Now to announce trigger, I have no, oh yeah, here we go. So if this is on wing light, whenever you click wing light right there, that's just going to give a little bit of an announcement. I think that says, oh yeah, that's for the
Flight attendants for takeoff, please.
Yeah, flight attendants to be seated. We're going to leave that off. So you get what I'm saying here. If that's on position light, then your position light will activate that little announcement. So we're going to leave it on wing light because it doesn't actually will be position light because we don't always turn our wing light on. So we're just going to ignore that, put it on position light, and head over here to, or we already just did audio. Wait, what? All right, here we go. So passenger volume. That's how loud you're going to hear the passengers. PM volume, I'm not sure what that is. Airport volume, how loud you're going to hear everything outside of the airport. Gyro volume, how loud the little gyro thingy is. Engine volume, how loud you're going to hear your engines. So we'll just keep that on 10 because I really love the engine sound here on the Zibo. So just leave that on 10. AC volume, how loud you're going to hear like the packs and stuff like that. I'll leave it on 5 because honestly I think that's the most realistic. Wind volume, that's when you're at like cruise or when you're just kind of like, I don't know, when you're just climbing through a certain altitude, it will sound like, it will just give you that little white noise sound effect. I like it on 5. I don't really think there's a need to have it on 10. So we're just going to leave it there. Roll impact volume, so that's when you touch down how loud that little rolling and that little crash sound will be. So I like it on 5. Once again, I think that's the most realistic. Bumps volume, so how loud the little bumps are when you're just rolling, taxiing on the ground. Once again, leave it at 5 for my preference. So moving to the second page, GPWS TCAS volume. So that's if ever you're like, for example, it might say like wind shear. That's how loud that will be. So when it says 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, obviously how loud that will all be. And if it says like traffic ahead or something like that, that's just your GPWS and TCAS volume. Now, I didn't really do anything with this. This was really just the default option. So I'm assuming that's the most realistic. So we're just going to leave it there. Weather volume, how loud you're going to hear the rain like going around on your windshields, leave that at 5. Add low frequency, I'm not quite sure what these guys are right here actually. Yeah, I don't really, you can hear a little something in the background, but I'm not quite sure what that is. I'm just going to ignore that and move on to calibration. So this is really just for your yoke and stuff like that. If I pull my yoke back, forward, left, right, you'll see that it gives all these little values right here. So that's pretty much what that is. I haven't done anything with this. It looks a little confusing, and I don't really think there's a need to touch it. Everything works fine without that. So, save and load configurations. This is just to save all the little changes you made, and yeah, all that. So this is really just self-explanatory. Quick save, that saves all the configurations. Just the aircraft configurations, if you do that, it will save those. that will just save the audio, and that will just save the aircraft's like state. So that will just reset everything that you kind of saves there. So pretty much that's everything. Wow, this was like a 20-minute tutorial. This was a heck of a lot longer than I thought it was. So I hope you stayed with me to the end. I really hope it was helpful. Alright, you guys, as I already said in the cockpit, I really hope you guys took something from this. This was definitely a lot longer than I thought it would be. I thought this would be like a 5-minute tutorial. Hopefully I didn't make it too complicated. If I did, just talk to me in the comment section below. I will definitely make a simpler version of this without going into so much detail. But if it was helpful, please like and subscribe down below. Honestly, that's always my goal, to make helpful and entertaining videos for you, and I really hope this did the job. So once again, guys, if you did like it, like, share, and subscribe down below. Guys, we are only 2 subscribers away from 100. Guys, I am pumped for this, and I have already started working on my 100 subscriber special because I already feel it that it's going to be soon. So guys, just hit that bell icon, subscribe, like, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!